that's important to create the base. The other important aspect really is to have multiple revenue streams. While we initially a dedicated MEA manufacturer, that's our first business. We'll be producing particles and selling it as well. We're producing catalysts and selling it as well. Our labs can be used as a revenue generation source. So we're looking at multiple areas to be sustainable beyond just the production of MEAs. And even our location here at the airport, really across the runway from the major metals vault, where we get our metal products from, it's across the runway into our plant, and the final product back across the runway onto a plane. So we cut out a very expensive logistical pipelines. There are some, legislative enabler. I think by building a sustainable business case, you're not reliant on that. So we're not reliant on SEZ incentives, although we're located in SEZ. So that's the way we've tried to build a sustainable business model. But the one thing I need to confirm is we would not have done this without the help of government, without the help of the DTI in particular. The first round funding we secured from the DTI in 2016. Masopa alluded to a very long pipeline, a very long journey. It has been very, very long. And from that, we've built steadily into where we are now at the execution stage. I think Masopa, it's taken us twice as long as what I anticipated. But that's that's a journey of an entrepreneur. And latterly, help from Infrastructure South Africa via our SIP accreditation, help from the Ministry of Electricity via the Green Hydrogen Conference development. All these come together and helps generate a national incentive program. This one slide for a bit of publicity. The project was launched by the at the President's State Investment Conference in 2022. You can see that's at the end of COVID, so that's the COVID handshake. And the SIP status, so you can see we're not making that up. I would like to just talk very quickly about this project because I think this has very, very exciting potential. Masopa mentioned that hydrogen has always been nascent and always been, 5 years down the line, it's coming. And that's also been a bit of a detriment to the industry because we need real projects in the ground now to make it real. And so we've identified a source of what we call intermediate hydrogen. It's coming from a chlor-alkali facility 12 km from here. It's already 99.9% pure. It's coming out of an electrolyzer. So it requires a relatively little purification to get it up to automotive grade. And our project is to purify, compress, and then roll it out into multiple refueling stations in the Johannesburg area. And we can do this at a total cost of ownership that is fairly close to a diesel truck or bus operation. So one of the few projects of its kind able to do that. And the advantage of this is, well, at full deployment, we're looking at 80,000 tons of carbon dioxide saving. But it's one of the bigger projects of its kind in the world right now. And that's hard to believe, but at 7 tons, and well, the project is designed at 400 vehicles, but we can go up to 800. That is one of the larger projects of its kind in the world. It puts hydrogen and Gauteng on the map from a hydrogen project perspective. But more importantly, it helps drive local beneficiation and local assembly of these vehicles. So it's going to help with the transformation of the internal combustion manufacturing into new energy vehicles. And I think already a lot of the automotives are quite interested in that. So if I might end, I would just like to say that I believe the opportunity before us now is historic from a country perspective. This green hydrogen economy is not something that we are waiting for. It is something that we are building and something that we need to be building right here, right now, and building together. It's the only way we can do it. It is imperative, that we work together as one team with one vision. We have our platinum industry partners here today. We have our automotive partners here today. We have players in the green hydrogen space. We are being led very ably by Minister and his team and by government. we have social partners, and we also have African partners. And so we have the scope, the team, and the drive to make this transition a just one, to make it a bold one, a transformative one. And I think as Isondo, we stand ready. We will do our part. We will continue to invest. We will continue to collaborate. We will continue to innovate, and we will continue to lead. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vinay Somera, for the comprehensive and very demonstrative overview of the innovative work that you are doing here and the socio-economic spin-offs. It's also encouraging to see the skills endowment here with the good doctors, and we look forward to the side tour of some of what you've taken us through in terms of the facility. We'd now like to invite the Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Hossein Soramogopa, who will give us a keynote address. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Tsakani. Let me take the opportunity to acknowledge MEC Mama Bulo. He had to leave because he has to go and account at the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. As you know, that the legislature is an important part of our democratic edifice in the country. I think it's important that the executive gets to present themselves and account to the legislature and by extension to the people of South Africa. So he had to leave. And let me greet you all in your eminence and thank you for joining us in this launch of the Green Hydrogen Summit. I want to special mention to CEO Somera. I really want to congratulate you for the exceptional and phenomenal work that you are doing. Just two things that stands out for me. The first one is that the idea of green hydrogen is not the future, it's now. So as Masupa makes the point earlier, when we conceptualize the idea of a green hydrogen conference as a meeting point of the legislatures, or if you like, legislators, those who are responsible for policy articulation and determination, the entrepreneurs and the financiers, bring them under one roof so that the conversations are more coherent and aligned, and we're all able to see what are the benefits of working together. Little did we know that what we put in together, it's something that could be realized within 24 months. I think our initial comprehension was that this is something that is in the distant future. The horizon was much, much longer. But it takes entrepreneurs and visionaries like yourself to essentially say to us that it's now. And I'm going to surface some of the issues that you are raising in your presentation and how the state can respond in ensuring that this becomes a reality. So thank you very much. Not a reality, but it can be turbocharged. And then the second one, in a bit of a personal anecdote. So one of the factors of protein is the skills that are required. I think you are slightly compelling in many ways. The first one is for you to give opportunities to youngsters who come from disadvantaged communities. And I'm saying it's a personal anecdote because I'm a beneficiary of a generosity of someone like yourself, coming from a township born of parents who have never been to school. And someone had the confidence in me, and I was able to complete my civil engineering degree. I'm standing here as a PhD graduate as a result of the generosity of people like yourself. And I want to say to the youngsters here, first, I'm very proud of you. We can do it. I've traveled the world. I can tell you are better than them. I repeat, I've traveled the world. We are exceptionally better than them. And I want to say to the youngsters here, don't waste the opportunity. You must make the most of that. He shared with us that the first generation of interns that are sitting here, they are PhD graduate. And that's why I'm not referring you to as doctors, because we get to be medical practitioners. You are PhD graduate. Those are two different. I always make the point: don't understate what you have achieved. And I want to say to the next generation that do everything possible to be able to build your skills. I'm going to say one or two things on the kind of competitive advantage that we have as a country in the energy complex. It manifests in various ways. And I think what is a great tragedy is that we have relinquished the strategic initiative as a country. Area of nuclear, the development of lithium battery, you know, the story of CSIR, the kind of innovations that ESCOM has made with regards to prepaid meters. It's us who made it, and the others then took it to another level. The issues of small modular reactors, of course, we got the technology from the Germans, we enhanced it, invest over 12 billion in that, build significant amount of skills, a pipeline of nuclear scientists, and then we abandoned it. Today, as I stand before you, the future of nuclear is SMRs. And those who got the pebble bed modular reactor is what underlines, is a technology that underlines the contemporary, if you like, SMR technology. And that has been enhanced in the country. And then we relinquish the strategic initiatives. I think it's important that we work with people like you so that we don't lose the strategic initiative. We are able to conquer and own these factors of production. So I want to say to the youngsters, please make sure that I saw there's a lot of MSCs and the like, you know, the next level, we go to PhD. And PhD, the sky is not the limit here. It's not true. It's limitless. And we're looking up to you to ensure that you are able to reproduce that cohort of skills and expertise to help us to broaden, if you like, the opportunity space. I want to, when I come and visit you in the next year or two, if you are to assemble all of your staff here, and I were to throw a stone, I must have a 1 in 2 chance of hitting a PhD graduate. And I'm confident that we're going to get there. So congratulations, rather, CEO, for the tremendous work that you have done. You have made the point there that they ask for you to achieve the kind of ambition that you have. It's about 11 million US dollars. I'm sure it's a conversation we can have outside this, not in the public. And I'm confident that next year or so we'll come back and say that which we said we'll have in private, it has now come to fruition, and we're able to lift this to height. So why are we here? So as a scientist, I know you said I'm not delivering a keynote address. I'm talking really the contribution to the conversations around the opportunity on green hydrogen. I'm very atypical, so I told you I'm not a politician. I'm an engineer who have just been asked to fulfill a public function, and that public function was to resolve the energy crisis. And I can tell you that before the end of this year, we'll stand up in the public and call it that we have resolved this problem. We have resolved it because we are confident of our ability, our technical ability. We are not here by accident. So I'm sitting there with an engineer who's the CEO and the top management ESCOM CEO. The board led by an engineer who's the chair of the board and also PhD graduates in the board, and the minister who's an engineer. And we are trained to solve problems. So this is but another small problem we had to solve with grave consequences. With grave consequence. If you don't resolve it, you are going to undermine the ability of the economy to grow. So I want to engender this point. You must believe in your abilities. When we are given these responsibilities, with all its complexities and difficulties, we knew that we possess the intellectual faculties to resolve this problem. I repeat, we are better than them. That's the point I want to make. You must always believe when we enter into a fight that I have the capacity to win this battle. And that's the mentality, the orientation we have. And I'm sure that with the opportunity that the CEO has extended, you are going to show the best that you are capable of. So what is the problem we're trying to solve? I am of the opinion that, and this is an advice that I got from one of my lecturers when I was at university. He says, for you to stand a better chance of resolving the problem, you must spend 60% of the time trying to understand the problem. What in science we refer to as a problem statement. So what is the problem statement that Mr. Somera and yourself are helping to resolve? The problem statement is a South African economy that is not growing. So we're resolving an economic problem that has got energy manifestations. And the sub element of that is the contribution of green hydrogen in resolving the energy complex to help us to address the economic problem in our country. The president makes the point, and the Minister of Finance elaborates on that point to say that the structural constraint to the South African economy can be identified as is twofold. The first one is the inefficiencies on the logistics side, and the second one is the challenges with regards to the electricity deficit. There is no country in the world that can grow when the lights are not on. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. The lights have to be on, and we know that that electricity has to be affordable, and we know the multi-renewable technology when it becomes to ensure that the economy is able to grow. And then we decided that it's important that we have an appreciation of what it will take for us to get the economy going. So if you were to do a longitudinal analysis, just trying to understand what has been the contribution of various sectors of the economy to GDP over a period of time, one of the things that is going to stand out is the contraction of mining, which is part of primary production, to the share of the GDP. And if you're to look at the skills profile in our country, is such that a lot of people don't have the kind of skills that allows them to participate in the secondary and tertiary sectors of the economy. And therefore, your primary sector is still an area of opportunity for the multitudes of people who are out of employment. And that's why we had to do everything possible to ensure that there are significant investment in the primary sector so that we're able to absorb people into gainful employment. So we know that the employment absorption capacity of the primary sectors, if you like, significantly higher than other sectors, the secondary and the tertiary sector of the economy. So mining has been contracting as a share of GDP. But we know now that with the resurgence of what I refer to as the battery economy, your fuel cells, you can see that mining is no more a sunset industry. Mining is a sunrise industry. And to this end, Cabinet has approved a critical minerals strategy presented and led by Minister Mantashe. So what the critical mineral strategy really seeks to do is to identify what constitutes the supply risks. It's able to compute a comparison of South Africa's production list with regards to critical mineral list relative to compute what constitute exporting of these critical minerals. Remember that what we are trying to do is to say which of these ones are going to help us in the shortest possible space of time to ensure that we are able to position ourselves favorably to take advantage of the battery economy, the fuel cells, and what is going to underpin this transition going into the future. So I'm talking about minerals that are essential for our overall economic development, job creation, industrial advancement, and contribution to national security. So we've given it our own unique color of what constitute the critical minerals. I mean, there's no universal definition of what is critical minerals, but what is important, what is a common feature from one country to the other is issues of national security and also economic development. What do we know about the mining sector in our economy, in our country rather, is that South Africa possesses oil reserves to the tune of about 2.5 trillion US dollars. And we also know that there's 16 commodities ranked in the top 10 international. So they're huge endowments. So from factors of production, you can see that our position is almost unassailable. So that's the one advantage that we have. And in fact, the strategy goes on to make the point that in 2023, the PGMs, CO, gold, iron ore, and coal together accounted for 81% of total sales, 84% of employment, with the PGM being the leading sector in terms of employment at 40%. And what you are presenting before us is that if the story of Isondo is going to be further elaborated going into the future and employment creation, and with the youngsters, the pipeline of skills that we are producing, I think the future is bright. So we're able to map what those critical minerals are, and of course, to your point, also identify the PGMs as a key part of that complex. So I'm making the point that mining is not a sunset industry. Mining is a sunrise industry for exactly the same reasons that I've just mentioned. And then we have an advantage here. I mean, we've participated in mining over a period of time. So the expertise is in the country. So we shouldn't have challenges with regards to how are we going to exploit this resource going into the future. And then we then said that it is important that as we grow the economy, we must green the economy. And then we committed ourselves to what we call the nationally determined contribution. So these are voluntary targets that we set for ourselves. First, as an admission as a country, that we've got an obligation to our people. So we don't sign and announce the NDC because other jurisdictions are placing pressure on us. We are doing this, and then what the world says is secondary. It's important that I make the point. We don't articulate the NDCs because there are pressures at COP. We articulate the NDCs because we've got an obligation to communities that are residing in those areas where we are electricity production is coal can result into harmful health consequences for those people. So we have an obligation to our people before we can make ourselves a pace and scale of this transition is going to be determined by us. It's not going to be dictated to us. And then we said the following. We said that we are committing to the reduction of anything between 350 million tons of CO2 equivalent to 420 million tons of CO2 equivalent between now and 2030. But we also know something, that there are what we call the hard to abate sectors. So on the electricity front, you can see that they were building, if you like, new generation capacity that is coming from renewables. And to ensure that this is a possibility going to the future, we are also modernizing and expanding our transmission. We need 14,000 kilometers of new lines. We must modernize it. We need about 440 billion rands for us to do that program. And we have announced how we're going to go into the market to get that contribution from the market. And then there are the hard to abate sectors. So there is electricity that is a big part of these emissions. And then we know that there's also transportation. And that's where you find the hard to abate sectors. We're talking about aviation and maritime. You will not put solar panels on these planes and expect them to that you are going to reach New York tomorrow. It's just the science has not achieved those levels. You put batteries there, I'm sure that you are going to the carrying capacity of the flights is going to be. I mean, it's not commercially viable. That's the point I'm making. And that's where the opportunity on green hydrogen comes in. Like I said, when we conceptualize this, we saw the earliest opportunity in being the hard to abate sectors. And we know that the problem we have, it's associated with the costs. The last time we checked, is that the production could be, at least sub-Saharan Africa, something about 1.5 US dollars per kilogram. If we were to get it to about below $1 per kilogram, we think that will be cost competitive. But again, trying to show us that some of these constituent element of the value chain are in fact possible. So I'm making this point that's for you to have an appreciation that as part of it's important that we are able to lift the contribution of green hydrogen in that you're going to help us to take it forward in an exceptionally big way. And that's why when this second, the biggest shortcomings in our country is that we talk to ensure that we are able to make a start. And it's entrepreneurs like yourselves that as a country we have an ability to start something great. The other factor of production, remember I spoke about the skill. The second one is around on the green part of the green hydrogen. Masupa makes the point that we're sitting with the technologies, Sasol, the Fischer-Tropsch technology. What we must resolve is the energy or the electricity that is going to power the production of hydrogen. So what is the advantage that we have? Africa has got the capacity to produce 60% of solar generation capacity in the globe. We've got an opportunity to produce 60% of renewable energy in the globe. But only 1% of investments are found on the continent. So we don't have a problem of renewable energy endowments. So we have the sun, and you have to do a radiation atlas. You'll find that the best quality sun is located on the continent, and in particular, the Northern Cape going into Namibia. So now no one can strip us of that renewable endowment. So the factor of production that we have in this space that cannot be removed from us is the fact that we've got this endowment. The second one is that we've got the real estate. We've got huge tracts of land that we can exploit as a continent. You go to Europe, they don't have this advantage. They've made significant investments, but you can ask them. The reason why our bid windows are oversubscribed is not an act of generosity. It's because the returns are significantly greater here. And the sooner we realize that, the better. That no one is doing us a favor. That's the point I'm making. But we need each other for us to be able to transition because they are sitting with the money. Of course, we can go to the Chinese, we can go to the Middle East, we can go all over. The money can be found, but they don't have the endowments that we have. So it's important that when we enter the conversation, we enter as equals. So no one is doing us a favor. We are not doing them a favor. We must find a meeting point, a place of alignment, a place of convergence, so that we are able to benefit humanity. I'm making this point because when you go to multinational fora, an impression is created that we need the industrialized countries more than they need us. I'm making the point that we need each other. So it is these partnerships that are going to help us to get to a level where we're able to resolve the problems of humanity, make the transition possible. That factor of production, which is the real estate we have. So I did say we have the skills. I made the point that we've got the kind of irradiation, the sun, we have it, and then we have the PGM. So is the PGMs, is the skills, is what we have is that we can work together. Yes, we are much, much better than just recently, as I conclude, as the Chinese, the biggest in the is likely to increase by. No. Before you go to town about my question, this is the question. In fact, he phrased it differently. He says, "Do you know a place called Quebec?" Of course, I'll know Quebec because we've got two nuclear reactors. Two of the three active nuclear reactors on the continent are at Quebec. The other one is in Pelinda. 2001, we came to you to learn about this nuclear. What do you want from me? The US was invited by one outfit through a common friend to say, when you're in the US, please come through and visit our facility. And then when we went to the annual meetings of the World Bank in Washington, he says, no, we're 25 kilometers outside Washington. I went to visit them. I was with my colleagues. When I entered the room, it was 7 of them. It was 4 of us. In total, we're 11. Coming from Pretoria, I speak Afrikaans very well. We did Afrikaans until matric, but it's also part of our lingo. Those who are from Pretoria, you know what I mean. We could have conducted that meeting in Afrikaans, barring from the fact that there was an American who wouldn't understand Afrikaans. What is the bigger point I'm making? The point is the following, is that all of those chaps that we visited, the 6 of them, of the 7, they are PhD holders in nuclear science. All of them with no exception. They are South Africans, white Afrikaners, South Africans who worked at NERCSA. All of them with no exception. They worked on the PBMR technology. And then they say, Minister, we're not unpatriotic. 12 billion rands into the PBMR program, you decided to place it under care and maintenance. We left because the skills are mobile. And nuclear scientists, science is a very specialized skill. They are the ones who are at the cutting edge of the. And you can see that the nuclear technology is making a return. And the people who are at the heart of this, having taken, and the others just lift anchor, battery technology. I'm sure many of you will know better than me. It is the CSIR that was at the forefront. We abandoned it, and everyone now is at the forefront. So I'm just initiative, and I want to say that with partners like yourself, Mr. Somera, we are not about to abandon this one. And the policy support you'll get from us to reinvest into this space so that we're able to lift our position in relation to green hydrogen, and we are at the forefront of leadership of this technology, because the factors of production are sitting with us. What we are missing, it is that money. and we'll go out, continue to look for partners internationally. I'm not about to suggest that we don't need the partners, we need the partners, but the partners come to the table through an equal arrangement. So we're partners, we're equal partners at the table, and we're able to fashion what is in the best interest of all of us. So the Green Hydrogen Conference this year will showcase what is possible. And as Masopa has mentioned, it's about a continental perspective. What are the opportunities on the continent, and working with other partners from outside the continent in ensuring that we are able to achieve the real benefits of this. We accept that what's going to make this possible is the offtakes that will come from the major industrialized powers, and hence I make the point that we need each other. These investments are necessary. They are prepared to pay a premium to access this green hydrogen. Is going to enable the growth of the sector or the industry or the technology, and in so doing, humanity is going to benefit. So I really want to take the opportunity to wish you well. And like I said, we'll have our own sidebar conversation and ensure that we protect this asset that we have just created. I mean, this is a national strategic asset. I had little knowledge of this before I came here. Until you introduced it. Now I know that we have our best foot forward. So congratulations, Mr. Some. May God bless you. When you are close to God, everything is possible. He always answers. That's my point. Thank you.
For your and on issues and subject matters. Always make your addresses very informative, insightful, and very educative. So thank you very much, Minister. And then with that, colleagues and esteemed guests, we will now embark on the site tour. We are done with the speaking part of the program. It's now time to see what the facility is.